Hello, everybody. Tuesday, July the 7th. It's Captain Marty here. Thank you for taking the time to check out our fishing reports. Don't forget that if you scroll down on this page a little bit further, you'll come right straight to our fishing stories, which is my favorite part of this podcast stuff. You'll hear stories about big marlin, man overboard, lots of stories about survival at sea, sinking boats, and just on and on and on and on. And I hope you get a chance to go down there and check that out. But we got a lot to talk about. The theme for today's report is some of the best bill fishing I've seen in a while. I'll tell you all about it when I come back.
Ahoy there, folks. Captain Ben Brown here, and I want to invite you aboard the Miss Oregon Inlet 2. She's a modern 60-foot headboat outfitted with the latest top-quality safety and fishing equipment. We make multiple trips per day out of the world-famous Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. Visit missoregoninlet.com or call us today at 252-441-6301, extension 1. So ditch the beach for a bit and set sail with the Miss Oregon Inlet 2.
Let's be real. No one wants to deal with nasty varmints like mice, roaches, creepy crawlies, and critters. Leave that work to the experts at Outer Banks Pest Control. Outer Banks Pest Control is the best on the beach when it comes to eradicating those unwanted creatures. They've been in business for over 25 years with well over 100 years of combined exterminating experience. Specializing in both commercial and residential properties, Outer Banks Pest Control has all the tools and equipment necessary to take on any pesky job. They pride themselves on top quality customer service and workmanship. Hey, if it ain't red and yellow, it's just some coattail riding fella. Outer Banks Pest Control, the best on the beach with a proven track record of excellence since the year 2000 and online at outerbanks-pestcontrol.com.
So we always start out with Hatteras and the marlin fishing. Let me do a general overview of the marlin fishing. The marlin fishing includes blue marlin, white marlin, and sailfish. And then by the numbers, the sailfish right now are dominating. I'm going to include all of the bill fishing into one report: Ocracoke, Hatteras, and Oregon Inlet. We've had, and Morehead City, because it started with a big bite down below us. We've been talking about double grand slams. A grand slam is a blue, a white, and a sail. Very difficult to do. Been a lot of them actually happening this week in Hatteras, in Oregon Inlet, and also still down at Morehead City. This is all great news, because we got a tournament coming up on the 22nd. It's the Boat Builders Tournament at Pirates Cove, and we're hoping that this bite will continue. But billfish for all three fleets. And even Ocracoke had a couple blue marlin down that way today. And then it's just really good. Some examples. Captain William Howe on the Drifter out of the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. He had 15 sailfish and a white marlin the day before yesterday. I couldn't find his catch for yesterday, but there were grand slams caught yesterday. It just there was several blue marlin caught and released, and there's a few white marlin. Typically, through history, the white marlin would be the most prolific of those three species, but the white marlin, for whatever reason, are way north of us again this year. And the sail fishing is kind of taking the place. The migration patterns have changed. Why is that? I don't really know. It's above my pay grade. I'll have to ask Justin. He'll tell me why that happened. But anyway, let's get on to the rest of the fishing report for the offshore fleet. Jessie Anderson and I had a great talk last night. She had a killer day on blackfin tuna, limits of dolphin or mahi. That's like 55, 60 fish, a wahoo or two. Really good meat fishing for the Hatteras and Oregon Inlet fleets. The Big Ice hit a couple boats. The problem was, like Jack Graham, another one of my sponsors on the Aficionado out of Oregon Inlet, he had the dink rigs. That's the smaller, lighter 20-pound test rigs they use for these sailfish. He had them out, and you know what they say, elephants eat peanuts. And sure enough, he got piled on by the big eye tuna. These were 150 to 200-pound tunas, way too light a tackle. They broke off on two or three of them right off the bat and hooked them all at one time. But they fought one of them for 2.5 hours before they ended up losing it. That 20-pound tackle just could not handle a 200-pound tuna. But they gave it the old college try. But really, really good. Both of our inshore fleets are struggling right now. They're doing whatever they can to come up with a catch. A little bit of bottom fishing outside the inlets is reducing triggers and sea bass. There's still some Spanish mackerel on a hit and miss basis, but we'll talk in the backcountry report about how some of the backcountry boats are actually coming down, running out the inlets and fishing for whatever they can find. Been a little bit tough for them. Surf fishing and pier fishing, just a pick, not much really to it. There was a nice, the Avon Pier, somebody released a tarpon. It looked like it was about 50 pounds off the Avon Pier. Might have been a little bigger than that. There's been Spanish mackerel in the surf all up and down Hatteras Island and north of Oregon Inlet as well. That's the leading species right now, followed by bluefish and sea mullet. Water temperatures from 74 to 78 degrees along the beach, but it's just not a whole lot to write home about. So we'll take a little break right here, and I'll come back and talk to you about the backcountry in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Captain Jay Cudworth of the Kokomo with Paradise Dolphin Cruises at Safe Harbor Marina in Wanchese. I want to invite you to take a ride out on the Roanoke Sound to see the majestic bottlenose dolphins up close. As a native, I'll be telling you stories from these waters as a boy growing up in Wanchese. Nature and history have combined to make this area unique, and I love sharing this special place with special people. So come on aboard with me and my crew and experience the real beauty of the Outer Banks. For more information, go online to ParadiseDolphinCruises.com. Again, this is Captain Jay. I look forward to seeing you soon.
So in the backcountry, there's been a little bit of improvement on the Western Pamlico, on the bigger size drum, up to 50 inches actually. But man, let me tell you, that's a tough order. And the guys that are catching them are professional guides that eat, sleep, and live drum fishing. They keep good records. They have places they go on certain tides, other places they go on certain winds, and it's just a challenge, really. They do really well, which is one reason you might want to try a professional guide to do that. As we get a little bit later into the summer and early fall, we'll get a much more prolific bite on the big drum. Over onto the other side of the sound, and I'm talking about getting over towards Hatteras Island, it's picky. We mentioned earlier in today's report that some of our guides back there, true backcountry guides fishing out of Hatteras, are struggling. Same thing is true for our guides up out of Oregon Inlet. It's just not been a good weekend, I should say, fishing-wise, and they're scrapping for wherever they can. Most of them actually, while it's calm and the wind's out of the southwest, are popping outside the inlet and looking for greener pastures, and they're actually in the ocean. So, that's what's going on there. I'm not hearing of much else, really. Remember, we had talked about some rockfish. We talked about some catfish all through the spring. But it is just not much to it. A real slow pick on bottom fishing in the sound. Captain Ben on the Miss Oregon Inlet was telling me they're catching a few spot, a few sea mullet, a few croakers, some throwback flounders. Every once in a while they get down and around the inlet or outside the inlet where they're catching some sea bass too. So we don't belabor the point. It's tough. The inshore fishing is tough right now, but you never know. You never worry about what they caught yesterday. All you need to know is what they're going to catch today. So I do hope you had a great holiday weekend. I know I sure did. Enjoyed the squalls that came through yesterday evening, although we could have used a few more of them, at least I could have. But go out and wet a line. Have a great day with your family. If you're visiting the Outer Banks, we're glad you're here because you put food on the table of locals in a tourism economy, and we appreciate you coming to our area. So have a great day, and let the good Lord bless you richly.